That's the one they spend all the money on.
Yeah, yes, the money shot is the one at the end where they spend all the money. That's definitely what it is. You're absolutely right. Don't let anybody tell you different, Dan. You keep that in your heart, okay? Proud of you.
Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's like watching, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
I'm Tony!
This is a show where two casual guys get together for a casual hour-and-a-half discussion about a movie that was approximately an hour-and-a-half hours long. Hour-and-a-half hours?
Hour-and-a-half hours? Do you say pluralize that hours? I don't know.
That had the runtime around an hour-and-a-half hours.
Just don't say the hours. Just say hour and a half.
That's a runtime of an hour and a half.
Hours. Great. Moving on.
So each week, one of us picks a movie, and then we both watch it. Then we talk about the movie. This week, it was my turn. So
Dan has a penchant for picking movies out of my childhood, out of my formative years, and bringing them back to the present, and I love it.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever... Well, because you're never going to pick any movies from the 60s or 70s, so I'm never going to have to, talk about
no, that was all you. What is the only one Zardoz? I don't remember.
And for not Forbidden Planet.
The blue movie? Oh,
blue
God.
Movie. Yeah. Somebody on Twitter was like, they were like, what's your favorite science fiction film? And somebody posted that as their favorite science fiction film.
They did that ironically, Dan, and someone should point that out to them. There's no way that's right.
I don't know. So this week, I picked a movie that I remember watching the commercials and going like, well, this should be a banger. And then I never saw it.
Should be a banger.
Never saw the movie and just heard terrible things about it. So I was like, well, fits here.
And let's just say, people aren't always right about things, Dan.
That it was a banger or that it was terrible?
It's kind of a banger. I'm going to throw it out there right now. It's kind of a banger.
This movie is so terrible. This movie is called Swordfish with John Travolta, Halle Berry.
Pretty good.
Hugh Jackman.
Crushing it.
And this movie, there's nothing there. It's terrible.
I don't know. I agree with half of that statement and staunchly disagree with the other half of that statement. Is that possible? That Probably. I agree that there's nothing here. Okay. The plot is just bananas. It doesn't make any sense, and nothing nothing makes any sense, right?
It doesn't make any sense because it doesn't mean anything. It makes the plot makes 100%. Perfect sense, but you're just like, why is this movie even happening?
I understand the through line of A to B to C, but it's like, why am I watching this? But it's fun. I had did you not have fun?
No, zero fun.
Zero fun. Hugh Jackman charming it up. John Travolta chewing the scenery. You didn't have any fun with this?
This is what Hugh Jackman does. Get ready.
Okay, we can agree that he may have never seen a computer before, but it was the early days, man. It's early days of the internet. He probably doesn't have a personal laptop. He doesn't have the practice that he does now.
This makes Sneakers look like a documentary.
Do you remember, when did Hackers come out? That's a good movie.
Wait, no.
Do you remember Hackers with Angelina Jolie?
Oh, yeah. That one's good.
Was that 90s?
Oh, I don't know. Probably. Maybe.
Did that come out before this? Oh, the 95. Never mind. So we've had plenty of practice making good hacker movies. I take back what I just said about Hugh Jackman not having a personal laptop.
Sneakers was the Robert Redford one, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And which one is Fisher Stevens, the bad guy? I think that's...
Who's Fisher Stevens? Let me look him up before I answer this question.
Fisher Stevens?
Is he the guy that's like,
kind of
these cups might as well have nipples on them in Friends?
Probably.
Plays Phoebe's boyfriend. Yeah. Okay, so that's Hackers.
Yeah.
That's Hackers. That's one of my favorite films.
Yeah, he's great. We're gonna rollerblade.
Yes, sir.
please.
Yes, sir.
And that's exactly my problem with this movie is
Okay.
There's nothing like, this movie acts like it has stuff like that in it where it's like, look at this is weird, ooh, ball bearings, ooh. And you're just like, no.
Ball bearings. I like that. That's a good quote.
It's like, oh, we got this bus that's gonna drive from one place to another, and it's gonna be parked,
and then it's gonna fly. So that's different, right? Come on. It thinks that it's a hyper stylized thriller, and it's kind of not. It's just got weird colors. That's kind of its big thing.
This movie it acts like it's not completely mundane, but it's really mundane. I guess that's my problem with the movie.
You know what I think? It's basically the movie version of me. I think I'm cool as shit, but everyone else out there is like, no, you're just kind of like a really average guy. And so I identify with Swordfish. I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
Tony, you're like a good boy. You're like, good boy.
Good boy.
That's like you. Good boy.
Do you mean like from what's that Brothers show? The Good Old Boys, where they drive a car and they're cool.
You're just like a good hound. You're just like, good boy. And you're like, I know you're gonna it's like, get my slippers. You're like, oh, my slippers.
I'll get them. What else do you need, boss?
And this movie, it just, it's like you think back on like the crazy shit that happens in like Con Air. We always talk about Con Air because Con Air is great.
Con Air's so good.
And it's just like, Ving Rhames and Steve Buscemi, just like characters.
Buscemi.
And who knows? Con Air is really stupid and weird. And
100%. And I agree with that 1,000,000%. But it is delightful.
This movie thinks it's chewing up the scenery, and it's like there's no scenery to be chewed.
I will say it's not the best Travolta. Yeah, I mean we've had better ridiculous Travolta, but it's not terrible.
He's not even very over the top. He's just kind of like, now I'm telling a 5-minute story, and maybe. But he
drives a cool car, so that's pretty good right there.
So, hour and 39 minutes. You're welcome. 2000.
Yeah, that's a nice quick hit. I appreciate that.
We start with the credits. You got the dirty video processing to kind of be Michael Bay-ish, or something.
I'm really glad we've kind of gotten out of that. That was a fad for a while, and it doesn't add anything to me.
If you go and watch, have you ever watched Michael Bay's Domino?
Oh, of course. Of course, yeah. Ooh,
unwatchable. Boy. That movie's like...
Is it unwatchable? I feel like I watched it then, and I was like, I'm not a huge fan, but you're probably right, though. It probably hasn't aged well, visually.
That's the one that he just went so far, where it's just like...
Yeah. Well, because we let these people get to the point where we're just like, you know what? You're great. Do whatever you want. Go as far as you want, and then they go too far. If they don't have those handcuffs somewhere, they go too far.
So this movie stars Soul Patch John Travolta. Okay.
I don't love the soul patch. I would argue it's too skinny because his face is kind of wide. You know what I mean? I think if Hugh Jackman had the same amount of facial hair, it would look fine. But Travolta's got a little wider of a face. You got to widen the strip. You
barely notice it. You don't even.
But there are some angles where you're like, wait, there's something on his chin. Nope, it's there, and that's not good. That's not what you want. You want to see it and be like, this guy's cool.
So now he does 10 minutes on Dog Day Afternoon talking to these guys, and you're just like, okay, what is this about? The problem with Hollywood, they make shit. Bad acting, lack of realism. Then he gets to Dog Day Afternoon, and then they says they didn't push it in Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah.
Do you know Dog Day Afternoon at all?
I'm going to be honest with you, and I do not.
When it came out, it was insane. It's one of those movies. It was not this mild-mannered movie. It was like, oh my God, what the hell is happening here? It's the bank robbery. It's Al Pacino, just like going off. And he's robbing this bank to get a sex change operation for his boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
This is like in 1970 or 71.
Sure. A lot of.
I didn't see it when I was a kid, but I saw it later and I was like, what the hell? That is not just your casual early 70s plot line. That is
100%
bonkers.
So this movie is just like, oh, they didn't go far enough in this movie that they went really far in.
Yes.
All right. That's a real, I like it less. When you don't totally understand what he's talking about because you have no reference point, you're just kind of like, okay, yeah, Hollywood does kind of make shit sometimes. I'm on board, John Travolta. Tell me more.
Well, and that's exactly it. He's making fun of a thing that is not referencing to the audience that's watching the movie, right?
Yeah.
Go after something that needs to be gone after. Dog Day Afternoon,
100%.
Not a movie you want to go after when you're this movie. This movie thinks it's so edgy.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's definitely not edgy. What would even be edgy in this movie? There's no boundary pushing whatsoever in this movie.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Good for them. Play it safe. I agree.
He's basically like, they should have killed a hostage every 1 minute to get what they wanted, and then they'd have got what they wanted or something. But audiences want happy endings. The bad guys can't win.
Yep. You're right.
So this is sort of the setup for the movie, is right. Audience loves happy endings, so we're going to flip that, or we're not going to flip that. Or actually, with this movie, we don't really even make a point about it.
Well, I think he's just saying that the happy ending is he lives. Spoiler alert. I think he's saying that's the happy ending. Everyone gets to live, except for the people that they killed.
Now, did you care
about what?
Him living or dying?
Not only did I not care, and this is hard because I have seen this before, so I don't know if this is me recollecting or whatever. But when they, spoiler alert again, when they show the dead John Travolta, I was like, oh, he's going to use that to escape. So halfway through the movie, they give away the ending of the movie, and I was very confused. Well, I don't know why you would do that.
They also set up a thing. So basically he's cosplaying as a real terrorist to do this thing.
He's cosplaying? Yeah.
And so then at the end he can use the body to get away.
To escape, yeah.
He doesn't even need to do that.
No, not really. Not really at all. Also, Dan, what is he doing? What is his mission now? Because at the end of the movie, they're kind of talking about his next mission, which is he went and killed a terrorist on the high seas. Yeah. What's his mission now?
Okay, so the actual premise of this movie is, and that's why this movie's really bad, is that John Travolta is the good guy.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Who is going to go and hunt down all the terrorists in the world, but to do that, he needs an infinite amount of money.
Okay, I thought that's what it was. And that's just, shouldn't he just be getting that from his government official that's funding him? You know what I mean? Why would you have your good guy then go kill people and steal money to then go do good things? Just be like, I'm the government. You can have the money, bro. It's confusing to me.
And they don't explain that. And it doesn't make any sense because they're already paying for him to do stuff.
Right.
And he hired about 1 million guys to do this job.
So many henchmen. They're not cheap, okay? I've tried. They're not cheap.
And it doesn't make any sense if these are his government-y henchmen or if they're real henchmen or
I think they're real henchmen. I think these are bad little guys.
Yeah, and so you're kind of like,
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make a ton of sense. But you know what does make sense?
No.
Hugh Jackman's frosted tips. Oh, boy, this guy looks good in this movie.
We're not there yet.
Oh, boy, he looks good. I got all excited. Did you get excited?
Every once in a while you turn his head and you see that little weenie earring, and I was just like, no.
It's the early 2000s. We thought it was cool. We've learned.
He had this little tiny thin gold hoop in his ear, and I was just like, oh, man.
People found that very sexy at the time, Dan. This was cool shit, okay?
This was the opposite of edgy. It's just like, oh, that's weak. It's very weak.
It's weak. Oh, Hugh will take you out, Dan. That guy is jacked.
So what he's really doing is he's talking to the police who have him there, and he's got hostages in a bank, and then they're covered in C4 plus ball bearings, so each one of them's a human bomb.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
And then then boom, Hugh Jackman is there somewhere. Everyone's in different places, and we don't understand why everyone is where they're at.
The spatial awareness it's not directed super well where you kind of get an understanding of where this, because it's basically 2 rooms, I'm pretty sure. And yet I have no idea where people are. That's not great.
Why would John Travolta's character be out there with the police?
Just to shoot the shit. Have a good time while he's waiting for his plane. I don't know.
No, doesn't make any sense. And then Hugh Jackman's character's then in the bank, I guess. And
it seems that way. But he's
sort of working with the FBI, and we're just like,
is he? Yeah, because he looks at the card at one point, but that's about it. That's about the whole thing. I don't know.
And poor Don Cheadle is there trying to be the most professional actor that there is in this whole movie.
And he is. I love Don Cheadle, but also weird facial hair on him because his is a little too thick because his face is skinny. So his is too much. Travolta's is too little. They should swap. Do a hot swap of facial hair.
So, boom. What happens is the head FBI guy has him shoot somebody, and that blows up one of the hostages, which sets a gigantic chain reaction, which blows up everything.
Well, he shoots and she runs, and then they go to get her because it's a proximity bomb. So as soon as she gets too far away from the bank or him, I'm actually not totally sure on that, what the proximity is to, because then it's also proximity on the bus. And it doesn't matter. It's proximity to something, okay? And she's too far. So then it blows up. But the explosion's pretty cool.
It was a huge explosion. They do a Matrix thing where they sort of dance around the whole thing, and we see cops being eviscerated by ball bearings, and we see everyone of consequence just generally being knocked down and unaffected by this thing.
The ball bearings went in different directions, so don't worry about that. Okay, they missed all of the important people.
They pointed the ball bearings away from the important people.
Yeah, because it was very nice of this hostage lady to shoot them this way. You know what I mean? But I thought this was a cool scene, and it promises some action that the movie does not deliver for the next 90 minutes, unfortunately. Even when they come back to this scene, they do it worse the second time. And I was like, oh no, guys, what are we doing?
Well, you can't. What else are you going to do that's going to get bigger than a person exploding and killing like 50 people? What I'm saying is
maybe you don't actually show the whole thing at the beginning. Maybe she's running and she starts to explode and you cut away and like 4 days earlier. And then later we see this big fucking explosion with all the good guys dying. You're like, oh shit, that's what happened. But instead we see this great explosion and then the rest of the movie, there's no action. There's nothing. There's nothing exciting the rest of the time. That's not good balance.
This is a movie Tony liked.
I still like it. I'm just don't. You know what? That's rude, Dan.
So now we get 4 days earlier, and we get the scene that is truly baffling to Dan. This guy arrives in L.A. and goes through customs, and then customs is like, we don't trust you. And then they open his briefcase, and he has a fake passport in there, which is just right there. Just like, it's almost like he laid it out and said, here's the thing to make you question why I am here.
Didn't hide it at all. Because he was so confident that he's getting through without being checked, okay? That's why he got overconfident, Dan. He's been on a lot of planes, and he's got passports everywhere. Nobody's ever cared before. But what I love is that he has a passport in his hand as well. He's giving them one while they look and hold up the other one. And they're like, wait a second. I think this guy's got 2 passports. It's great. It's a great little scene.
So they take him into the back room.
Yeah.
Now, does all the FBI... Yeah, so this goes on. We intercut this with 20 other things. So they take him in the back. He's detained and cuffed. Now we cut to Sam Shepard, who's playing the Senator, and gets a phone call, or a dude tells him that Axel has been detained, and then this is Axel who's been detained, I guess. So I guess he was working for the Senator.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I'm going to be 100% honest.
So we're like, okay, so the Senator's pulling the strings, but he has shady people working for him.
Oh, yeah. Bad. Well, I guess a lot of them, because isn't this... Yeah.
Cut to Texas. I think it's Texas. Halle Berry, who plays Ginger, and Hugh Jackman, who plays Stan or Stanley, the hacker. He's doing the on top of my RV home golfing. Golf.
And what's he wearing, Dan?
Underpants.
A towel, baby. He's wearing a towel. And the sex appeal is jumping off the screen. And you're like, yes, this guy's going to be a star.
You're not wrong.
I'm just saying. I mean, I think this came out after X-Men 1. So we already kind of knew he was going to be a star. But I still think this movie solidifies it. He's a beautiful man, and he's pretty charismatic.
He's really good. Even in this terrible, terrible role, you don't walk away from the. I gotta say, yes, Travolta and him and Halle Berry, they all carry off the acting pretty well.
Pretty solid. Yeah, if they had a good script, this probably would have been a great movie.
Yeah, if it added up to anything, it might have added up to something. But
if it added up, it might have added up. Who knows?
So she knows everything about him, steals one of his beers, and then says basically, we're going to give you $10K or $100K? $10K or $100K?
I hope it's not $10K, because that's not very much money. I wasn't paying attention, but...
Maybe it was $100K, I don't remember.
They're
going to give him a big money just to come and meet John Travolta's character. And so, let's see. So he's like, I got to think about it. I don't want to get in trouble, but that's a bunch of money.
But I'm pretty much going to do it immediately, because I'm a bad guy.
And then she brings up Holly, and he throws her out. Get out of my trailer if you're going to bring up Holly. Get.
It's pretty funny. He literally throws her out of the trailer. I chuckled. I don't know if you chuckled. I chuckled.
I did not.
No, you didn't chuckle? Oh, boy, Dan.
So
you're heartless.
He calls Holly, and Holly's his daughter. She's with the ex-wife who has now gone from the world's greatest hacker to living with the porno king of the world.
The world's greatest porn maker. I mean, she's on top of the world, this lady. She's doing great.
But in addition to everything, it's like, do you really think that the king of porno, has his wife, act?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably.
But I don't know. I'm not in that world. It's hard to be sure. Maybe they're into that, because that could be a kink of some sort. And listen, we're not, if you're listening to this and you're like, hey guys, I love that, we're not judging. We just don't know. We're a little close-minded when it comes to that sort of thing.
I would just think if you wouldn't make your wife work if you're making infinite porno.
Okay, you wouldn't make her, right? But if she wanted to, maybe you would let her. I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's a weird world to begin with.
So he's been in prison for 2 years, and it's $100K. Yeah. And
which, by the way, 2 years doesn't feel that long for what they said he did, right?
Of course not. 2 years. Give me a break.
Okay. I was like, he must have had really good behavior, because he did a pretty serious cyber crime.
Oh,
and then
they
just
did.
I don't know.
He did something, but they didn't super catch him. They just sort of caught him. He's like, you can never prove that I did the thing that I super did.
So they got him maybe on something else or something. Yeah. I don't know.
So he's like, oh man, if I had that $100K, I could hire a lawyer and maybe get to see my daughter. Maybe. Okay.
So if I just break my parole, I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's not like they're going to notice that he has the most expensive lawyer in the world and look at his bank account.
Hey, where'd you get all that money that you didn't have before, you jackass?
So, boom, we go back to the airport where Axel is locked up, and the FBI go in there, and we find out Axel's another hacker. So here's another hacker who's been busted.
Who's very good.
Which, what would have made sense was their one hacker gets busted, so they have to find a new hacker. But instead, they have to have two hackers. But Axel, we find out later, already did a bunch of stuff for them, sort of, maybe or maybe not.
Maybe not. I'm pretty sure maybe.
So Don Cheadle comes in there. He's like, he throws the lawyer out. Cheadle has a gun. He's like, gun. I've got a gun.
Did you just lick it?
Yeah.
My gun.
And then he talks about at one point he shot a suspect in the hand, and it's like, really, oh my God.
Which you can't do.
I mean,
you can't do that.
Just no, the lawyer you can't, he can do anything. Dan.
I'm pretty sure you can't shoot a man in the hand and still have a job. I'm just throwing it out there.
If you're a big enough rebel, you can do anything, Tony. And
rebel
so he's
without
all
a
like,
cause.
So he's all like, who's your boss? Who's your boss? And he's like, oh, he exists in a world beyond your world. So he starts talking about the dude.
He gives up everything he knows almost immediately, which luckily isn't that much.
And the other thing was, as they were taking him in, he looked out and he saw somebody pushing a cart of something. And he was like...
Yeah, and he was like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
And we never find out what that cart is or what that cart meant.
But you know, Dan.
No, I don't know. I don't know. So, boom, since we're talking about him, we got to go meet John Travolta. How do we meet John Travolta?
I have no idea. I don't remember that.
In the club.
How did we meet him?
He's in the club. Of course he's in the club.
In the crazy,
beats.
Yeah. Which was like a huge thing back in the day. And then I love that John Wick kind of brought that back. I really appreciate that.
I was watching a thing with Leguizamo talking about John Wick, and he's like,
"Oh yeah."
They sent me the script, and I was like, "I don't know, man. There's nothing here." And then he's like,
that's fair.
Then when he saw the movie, he's like, "Oh, okay, that just wasn't on the page."
I get it.
Because it wasn't on the page.
It's all up here in their heads. I get it. Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. If you have a vision, you can have a vision. This movie dreams it had a vision.
It had a vision of having a vision.
Yes. Not a lot of vision there.
Yeah.
So he's in the club. There's like girls sitting there that might be working for him, might be taking notes, might be prostitutes. Right. We don't know. They're just hot girls because you hire hot girls to do your work.
Yeah. I mean, if you got lots of money, you can hire anybody you want. And
then boom, Cheadle. Then we go back to the airport. Don Cheadle's like, guy comes like, you got a phone call from your super boss. So he's like, super boss. Goes out to the super boss.
Super boss. Oh man.
2 murderers come in, kill Axel, and then just leave.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, is Don Cheadle really the only person watching this guy? And because he had to take a phone call, everyone's gone? Because that doesn't seem right.
I don't
know.
They just can waltz in there, shoot a guy, waltz out.
It's a dangerous world we're living in.
Airport.
Right? I don't know if you've been to the airport, Dan. There's no security. No security at airports.
So now Stan and Ginger are at the club. And he's like, Travolta's like, I got the thing you got to do, and it's the hardest hacking that exists. And he pushes a computer over there to him. Yeah. And then he's like, this takes a normal person can't do this in 60 minutes. You've got 60 seconds. And then Halle Berry starts giving him a blowjob.
No. Hold on. It's not Halle Berry. It's a different rando girl.
Sorry. Different rando girl starts giving him a blowjob. And then he has to like.
So we need to talk about this just briefly. Dan, you got too many laptops there. You're flopping around like a fish here. All right. Yeah. First of all, you got to hit the keyboard a lot harder than that. So this is the only scene of this movie that I remember from when I saw it in high school.
Sure.
In high school, this was the coolest scene I've ever seen in my life. Sure. I will admit, I have problems. I understand that. But this is the coolest scene a 15-year-old boy could see in his entire life. And you know what? Come at me if you want to, but it is. But as an adult, looking back, you're like, this is fucked up, man. So first of all, it's so messed up on many counts. One, he doesn't want it, right? No, Hugh Jackman is not. He's not wanting it.
No consent.
This is rape. This is straight up rape. But also, this woman is being forced to do it. She doesn't want it. He doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And it's just so weird. And everyone's watching. And I was like, I don't know why I thought this is cool. This is not actually that cool anymore. It's just very weird. And it doesn't make any sense. It's not like this is a test or a foreshadowing of what he's going to have to go through in the real scenario. What does this have to do with anything? It's just edgy, quote unquote.
When you're at the dentist.
Okay, I love where this is going. Talk to me about your dentist, Dan.
Do you get sexually excited when you go to the dentist?
I mean, I've done it, but not. No, Dan. I'm afraid of the dentist. First of all,
you think you're gonna die? Do you really think 100%. You're gonna be like, oh,
no? I'm not. I'm not gonna rise to the occasion if there's a gun to my head. That's just not the way. Again, maybe at 15. You know what I mean? Like 15, that adrenaline's going kind of no matter what. But he's a grown man in this scenario. He has control over his emotions. He's not going to get excited. She's just going to be playing with a little nubbin, and he's going to be like, this is nothing. I can do this, no problem. But anyhow.
It's very silly.
But as something you see in your formative years, very cool. You know? Very cool
once again,
stuff.
There you go. There's stuff in this movie that's meant to be cool to a 15-year-old, but when you watch it 100%. As an adult, when
you're
there's
like,
lots of other
what the fuck is happening?
Lots of other movies that do this better, you're just like, oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, because there's no like sexual tension. I need a little foreplay. You know what I mean? I like to get like, oh. There's nothing. Yeah. There's nothing here. It's just like, bam, what's happening? It's over. I don't get it.
And then he finishes it, and he succeeds.
He finishes.
And then, stop. And he finishes it. Finishes both things. And then John Travolta pulls the gun. That wasn't a funny joke.
You're wrong, Dan.
Does John Travolta, like, pull the trigger and it doesn't have bullets or something? And
that is correct, yeah. 100%.
I was just fucking with you.
And then he turns it around. He's like, but it's done, bitch.
Does he really say that?
He's cool. No, he should have said that, though. He just turned it around.
So, Tony, usually what happens in a movie like this, right?
Yeah, talk to me.
You set up a thing like this, like something has to get done in 60 seconds or a minute.
Right.
And then, this is the preview for that.
Right. And then later you do it even more.
Yeah, and?
Yeah, we don't do it. Well,
we don't do it.
I mean, we kind of do it because he strings up Ginger and she's choking, blah, blah, and he's like, you got 60 seconds. So it kind of does it.
But it isn't, though. He's not.
No,
that wasn't something. John Travolta's not readying him for when John Travolta forces him to do something fast again.
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying I think the people that wrote the movie saw it as a foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I think.
But it's not a foreshadowing.
Because John Travolta should be giving him an audition for what's going to happen when they're on the job. When everything goes wrong and he's like, well, now you have 60 seconds because she's going to die and I'm going to kill you. That doesn't make any sense. He didn't foresee that.
And more importantly, later on, when he forces him to do the thing fast, there's no reason why he has to do it fast. They have all the time in the world.
Other than he decided that he's going to kill Ginger. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, it's all arbitrary.
Tony, what I want you to do is I want you to raise your hand.
Okay.
When Hugh Jackman's character now begins to care about Ginger's character so much, he'll do anything to make sure she lives.
Oh, boy. I like to raise my hand, Danny. You're making it very hard for me to do so.
I guess I should start with, are you ever going to raise your hand during this?
I'm never going to raise, I'm not in that. I will raise my hands because I like to talk with my hands, but I want you not to be confused that that's not why I'm raising them.
So there never is a...
Never. I think they try. They do give it the old college try with the DEA stuff, which we'll talk about, but it never solidifies.
Yeah. So boom.
Tough stuff, man. Character work is hard.
Boom. He goes to the bathroom with Ginger.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm gonna quit, and then she follows him in. And is like, you gotta do it, Stanley.
Oh,
how's that for Halle Berry? Was that pretty good?
There it is. And the guys come in. So she's in there at the bathroom, talking to him, saying, "Oh, you gotta do the job." And then two randos walk in, and what does she do?
I don't know. What does she do?
She fake makes out with him. But really, I think she maybe does make out with, like...
Oh, no. Yeah, no, she makes out with him. She's lip locking for sure. There's contact. Yeah.
Why?
So, hey, maybe this right here, maybe it's because he's clearly guided by his penis. So maybe just this one kiss was enough to be like, well, we're in love. Now we're in love. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
But why does she have to, like, cover up the fact that she's in the bathroom with him?
Usually it's because you don't want people to know that you're in cahoots. Yeah. Or see your faces. But since these two people don't care about either of those things, I don't know. Maybe she feels the way I feel, and she's like, look at those frosted tips. Put your lips on mine, Hugh Jackman.
Boom, we're back outside. John Travolta.
Okay, we're just going to skip over it. Good call.
John Travolta's talking to his lieutenant, Vinnie Jones. Vinnie Jones, very early role for him.
I love Vinnie Jones. The hair freaks me out every time I see Vinnie Jones with hair now. I don't like it as much as when he's bald. I just think he looks better that way.
And he's like, I don't know. I have doubts about this guy. And Travolta's like, I trust him.
Why? Based on what?
So we go back to the airport. Here's the the FBI, John Cheadle. They're looking at the tapes, and you're like, oh, this is going to be the point where they figure out who the dudes were that came in and killed the dude, and then they see them leave.
Yeah.
But instead, they see Stanley showing up with Halle Berry's character.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was weird.
I mean, you tell me, Dan. You're the plot guy. You're the synopsis guy. I don't know.
Boom, now we're at the cool LA mansion. There's a party. The hot girls are getting naked. Boom, boom, boom. John Travolta takes him into
LA, baby.
Takes him into his office, his cool office, where he sits behind some sort of desk. I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he says, how did you do it? How did you solve the thing? Tony, how is he able to do that while everything was going on?
Well, Dan, this is where I get confused about things.
Yeah.
So, first she's like, I put a worm in there something. And he's like, no, you didn't. He's like, you're right. I didn't. I did this other thing. And he's like, no, you didn't. He's like, you're right. I just see the code. What? You're telling me this guy doesn't even know what he's doing? He just somehow envisions the code and it does what it's supposed to do? That's not how that works.
Sure plays a mean pinball. They should have cut that in there right there. He's a pinball wizard.
It doesn't, you can't, that's not how programming works. You have to know exactly what you're trying to do and the syntax to do it.
Nope.
You're telling me he has no idea what any of the code he's even writing does. He's just like, oh, my brain and my fingers are telling me to do this. I guess, wow, look at that. It stole $1 gajillion. Not my fault. I didn't know, everybody. What is happening? That is the dumbest line ever written in any movie of all time. Full stop.
So, I mean, the truth of the matter is, what he should have said was like, at a certain point, man, I just code beyond what, rational thought. And,
sure, it's like
I've
when
coded
you talk
for
too fast for your mouth or your brain, Yeah.
They could have talked about the gray zone. Talk about the gray zone, Tony.
Oh, I mean, it's basically where we live is where you're not thinking about what you're saying. You're just saying it. It's a problem. It's a real problem. Just wing it. You're so far past the edge that you've got no handholds anywhere, and you're just falling.
Yeah, and that is the greatest point to be in comedy and probably in acting too. When you just get it,
but probably not great for regular life. Let's think about the things we're saying before we say them, guys.
Be a little careful. Gotta edit a little. Do a little bit of editing.
Yeah. It's the best way to be.
So we got that. So what we need to do the real job, because he kind of explains the real job and shows him this.
Does he? Because I didn't totally understand it.
He shows him the magic computer that has like 9 screens, sort of like in a thing, and he's all like, oh.
By the way, Dan, I have 5 screens in front of me right now. That doesn't make me good at anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's like, I understand it looks cool, but it doesn't mean anything. There's no reason for him to be impressed by this.
Monitors
don't mean anything. What matters is what's inside your computer. What are the components?
He should have gotten on his hands and knees and cracked it open and been
There you go. Started with his little screwdriver, taking things out and be like, okay, that's 64 gigabytes of RAM. Okay. So dumb.
So they're going to need a Hydra, and they show him the computer and they say that it's encoded.
I don't know. I don't think they know what it means. I think they just heard that word before and like, let's use that one. Boom,
we have a deal. So he's like, deal. I've seen the computer.
I'm excited.
We got a deal.
You teased me. I'm ready to go.
Next morning, he goes out to the veranda or the sun room or the sun patio, and there is topless Halle Berry.
Now, what's interesting to me, again, we're going to talk about 15-year-old Tony again. For some reason, I don't remember this.
I know that's what you guys watched.
I know that in this movie, she's topless. Oh. In my head, for some reason, it's the trailer scene, and I have no idea. She comes out of the trailer topless. That's what I remember. This didn't happen. His trailer. Yeah, so I was waiting for it, and I was like, wait, what the hell just happened? Didn't happen. And then she's in a lawn chair. I was like, this isn't right. My entire childhood is completely fabricated in my brain right now. So I don't know. It's, memory's weird. Memory is weird.
So there she is, and they say words that I don't know. Did they have any kind of real communication?
You're not listening to the words. Let's be honest with ourselves.
She's very attractive. Halle Berry.
I agree. I say no. I'm going to say yes.
Very attractive. Boom. So since he's in California, Hugh Jackman's like, gonna go see the daughter. The daughter, or, we know he's going to go see the daughter. We see the daughter. She's at her weird private school. The mom's too drunk to come pick her up. Boom. Hugh Jackman appears. Hey, baby, here I am, Hugh Jackman.
More people should introduce themselves with their full name every time they, just like, hey, Tony Zach, what's going on?
I think people would like that.
I'm going to do it, Dan.
What's the big, guy who just got $100,000 in cash? What does he bring her as a gift?
I don't know. What did he bring her?
A piece of shit stuffed giraffe.
Giraffe. Damn it. I couldn't remember what the animal was. I remember Con Air as a bunny, but this one doesn't matter as much.
But Con Air, it's like he's a con, and he fucking probably, had to give 10 guys blowjobs to get that bunny,
Oh yeah. I would have given him a bunny. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, hey, 2 bunnies. Take all the bunnies you need, Nick.
$100,000. He should princess outfit, like a little tiny car.
Or a giraffe. Maybe a real giraffe. Try that, you jackass.
He should walk up with the giraffe. And at this point, you just look at him and you're like, yeah, he's going to be a star. You're just like,
yeah. I know, dude. This guy's got it. I said it in 2001. People didn't listen to me, all right? I'm kidding. They did, because he's a star.
Terrible scene.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, he's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman.
So he takes her home, and what happens when he gets home?
Dan, you're asking me all these. I didn't take any notes in this movie. Let me read you a note. Oh, hello, Hugh. Damn, this guy's sexy. I kind of dig the earring and the frosted tips. That's one of the only notes I wrote. You're asking me very particular questions. I don't even remember what happened in this movie.
The FBI pull up in their cars to bust him.
Oh, right. No,
do you want to talk about what occurs after that, Tony?
No, Dan, I want you to talk about it. How about that? Tell me what happens.
I think he rams them with the car, with Halle Berry's car. He rams them with the car.
Yeah, well, it's not his car. He doesn't care.
Then he just takes off, and he runs down a hillside.
Well, he doesn't run down the hillside, Dan. He kind of jumps and then tumbles, and then they both just follow, which I don't think is the right path to do that, because the guy who takes the car, if you remember correctly, by the time they get to the bottom, the guy that takes the car hits him. So the car is just as fast. Why would you take the straight down path? Not smart police work.
Car would never be as fast as falling down.
Well, I mean, I agree with you there, but in the movie it is. So cars have special powers.
Why did we have this runaway scene?
What does he say when he gets to the bottom? Because they ask him, they're like, "Why'd you run?"
Oh, I mean, he says something stupid.
I know, but I thought that was the answer you were looking for. Are you talking about for the movie? Because they thought it was a cool, fun action scene to watch people tumble for approximately 3 minutes of just tumbling.
And so then they just let him go.
Well, no, they talked to him first.
Yeah, then they let him go.
Yeah, and then they let him go, even though they almost killed 2 guys, basically. Yeah. You know?
He rammed them with his car. Let me ask you a question.
Property damage. Okay.
You have a powerful hacker that you know is going to do some terrible things.
Yeah. Okay.
What do we have there? Attempted manslaughter on some FBI.
Yep.
He's on parole, right?
He is, and this has got to be some sort of violation. And isn't he out of the
attempted
state?
Murder on FBI? Right. Yes, he can't leave.
I've never been on parole. I don't know the rules, but I imagine that would be one of them.
When you leave the state, you have to tell your parole officer. You have to make sure with him.
And I feel like he didn't do that.
No, he didn't.
Because they say violating parole. I'm pretty sure they said that at one point. So I don't know what the rules are. But he's being pretty lenient.
They're just like, just go. Yeah, whatever.
Well, at this point, Don Cheadle's pretty tired. He tumbled down a hill. He's just kind of ready to call it a day.
Okay. So he just goes back. And more importantly, he's like destroyed Ginger's car or somebody's car. Isn't he going to have the answer for destroyed car?
No, because he's a hacker. Okay. And we're going to let him off the hook because we need him.
So he goes back there and immediately goes to the bathroom. Or no, he goes to Ginger's room and just like opens the door. And there she is.
Doesn't knock. Just so rude, by the way. Doesn't knock at all. Just walks straight into a woman's bedroom. You can't do it.
And she is attractively, nearly naked, wearing a wire. And he like sees the wire.
Yeah.
She's wearing lingerie.
Lingerie.
And then he's like, "Who are you? Who are you?" And she's like, "I can't tell you." And then immediately she tells him, "I'm DEA."
She says no one time, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, no, I'm DEA." So shush.
And so
shush
then
it.
Gabriel, that's John Travolta's character. I think that's just when I learned his name.
It
Gabriel.
Is? Yeah. Huh. Okay. I trust you.
He walks in the door, and then Hugh Jackman, who's playing, what's Hugh Jackman's character's name? I've said it a number of times.
Stanley. Oh, I remember Stanley.
She rips off the wire and puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
Everything's
good job.
Okay. And then they sort of talk, and then Gabriel's like, "Come on, let's go get coffee."
Yep. Yeah, that's a good summation.
So
yes.
So she says she's DEA, so we're like, okay, she's either DEA or she's not DEA. If she is DEA,
it's a 50-50.
And then if she is DEA, then that's going to come into play at some point, right?
Sure. Did you forget about this scene by the end of the movie like I did?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because I was waiting for there to be actual twists where you're like, oh, there's jeopardy because of something, and then it switches. You know.
Oh, you thought you were watching a different movie.
I thought I was watching a movie. Yeah, where things happen.
Where things happen, and we go for a ride. Okay, I see. That's your mistake, Dan. I'll tell you, I'll be honest, 5 minutes after this scene, totally forget it happens. They kind of do a callback at the end of the movie. I was like, wait, what? Oh, right. No, now I remember they said that one time and then never mention it again for 45 minutes. Yeah. Even if she's fake DEA, it should probably come back throughout the film. She should probably keep that facade up for us and Stanley.
Well,
right?
she has to tie Stanley into it, so Stanley's under the gun because of her malfeasance, but it never happens.
No, it does not.
And it basically, you didn't raise your hand, so this isn't the point where they fall in love, and he will do anything to protect her.
I don't know. Maybe we should do a different symbol, Dan, because my hands keep creeping up.
So they go to get coffee, and we learn what swordfish means, and basically
Did we learn what it means?
Yeah, it was a thing where they were giving money to the cartels or taking money from the cartels or something. And so this money got left over, and then it sat in a bank, and then it went like this: money, 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 money. And so then the money's
money
sitting basically across the street, and that's what they're there to do, is to go across the street and extract the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
There it is. It's a bank robbery.
But why is it called Swordfish?
That's just like a code name, like.
Right. So that's what I mean, because there's no relevance to Swordfish. Someone just made it up.
Yeah, that's the idea of things like that.
Yeah, I guess so. I just wanted I don't know.
Just
like
pick
a name, I guess.
This movie's just made up. It's just a bunch of garbage that's made up.
Wait, this movie's made up? No. Oh, no.
So the CIA is now watching the house where Gabriel and everyone's hanging out. So then Stanley gets there and he's all like, okay, give me the computer. And then he's got like his magic worm that he's hidden. He's hidden his worm at the old place he used to work.
Yeah, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a hacker like Stanley, so it probably just went over my head.
Yeah, I may just put it somewhere.
But how do you just hide? Maybe
it's just like a little bit of code.
A note when you make it a note, so it's not actually running. Okay.
Yeah. It's just a file he has parked somewhere, and then he just he just knows how to access it. No one would think to access it in this one place because it's like a garbage. This runs the garbage disposal. No one will think to look there for the code
unless the garbage disposal breaks and someone's got to look at it. I mean, it seems risky. That's all I'm saying.
So Gabriel talks to the senator and is all like, and the senator's like, okay, we got to stop the op. Things are getting too hot, I suppose. He says something stupid like that. And then
that's a great line. Too hot.
Tells him to stop, and then he gets off the phone, and then he's like, okay, we gotta stop Gabriel because
he's not gonna stop.
Because he's not gonna stop, and why did he need to stop this?
Because of the police? Because here's the thing, it was always an illegal move, right?
Yeah.
So you were always going to get people trying to stop you? I don't know, man. I don't get it.
So, boom. Now we have the montage of making the Hydra, and we have
a lot of that. Yeah.
Dancing to funky music, typing. And then he's like,
getting upset.
I need wine. So then he goes into the wine cellar of the house, and it's like, because in addition to being a hacker, he's proficient in his wines.
Well, of course. Hello. You don't like that? You don't think hackers can have an advanced palate for wine, Dan? I mean, sheesh. So, what kind of preconceived notions are you dealing with? Hackers can be fancy people.
So, boom, then he finds the dead body of Gabriel. Now,
which is pretty much hidden in plain sight. So.
Just laying there, stinking up the world. Wine cellar's not necessarily chilled.
Cold. Yeah, they're not that cold.
They're probably temperature controlled.
Cold. You know what I mean? Weird. So weird.
How long has that body been there?
It has, weeks, right? Minimum.
Okay. I guess.
What's the timeline of the movie, Dan?
Now, hold on. 4 days. Didn't they rent this place? Didn't they say at one point they rented this place? I know they did.
Yes.
How is there a wine cellar in their rented house?
Maybe that's just like one of the perks.
You rent a house and it comes with a giant filled wine cellar. I guess maybe. I suppose. You have enough money, you can rent
one time my Airbnb had sparkling water in it, Dan. So,
And they charged you for that afterwards?
They did, yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, they sure did.
Okay. Boom.
I thought it was complimentary. You know what I mean? Because it's just in the fridge, and I didn't read the booklet that they leave on the thing. So I just thought, that's nice of them. They left some stuff, but then they charge you by the item. And I was like, what is this, a hotel? Unbelievable.
So
it's a mini bar at a hotel.
So now Gabriel takes him for a ride. Let's go for a drive. And then he talks about Houdini
going for a ride.
Houdini and misdirection. So we're like, oh, this movie's all about misdirection.
Yeah, just like The Usual Suspects was 8 years before.
Then we have what I call the no reason car chase.
Yes.
You want to talk about that, Tony? Because I do not.
I don't even totally remember it. I remember him driving a cool car, and then I remember at one point he was like, hey, Stanley, take the wheel.
Yeah.
And he was like, I can't drive a manual.
Oh, did he say that?
And then he does. Yeah. He's like, I can't drive stick. And then he does it immediately and very proficiently. And I was like, wow, this guy learns very quickly. And that's pretty much all I remember thinking the whole time. I was like, man, I tried to drive a stick one time just down a road. And when I stopped at a stop sign, I was stuck there for about 3 minutes trying to fucking get this clutch to work. It's tough, man. It's tough.
So basically, the hit team that the Senators sent, Gabriel kills them all in the street, pulls out a gigantic machine gun and shoots them.
Yeah.
And
wasn't it 2? Am I crazy? I thought he had 2 at one point.
I think he had 2 guns when he was going like this, and then he gets a big machine gun. Does all this. No police. No one alerted.
No, it's fine. It's nighttime, Dan. The police are done for the night. It's after 5 p.m.
Nobody calls Don Cheadle on the phone and says, this guy you're watching, he just blew up the world.
He's killing a bunch of people over here. They probably called and Don's like, listen, I'm off work. I'm off duty. I'm hanging out. I'm watching my soap operas that I taped for the day, and I'll come in tomorrow.
He calls them his stories, Tony.
Oh, sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. I don't mean to demean the soap opera, his stories.
So in the middle of this, Gabriel has time to rent a helicopter, fly to where the senator is, and kill the senator. Why does he do that?
I have no idea, Dan. I don't understand. And because okay. I get confused because so he does this. He kills this man who's essentially his handler, right?
His boss, yeah.
Yeah, his boss, who as far as I can tell, is the only one who knows about him, right?
Yeah, I mean, that could be the reason. He could have said something like,
great,
I'm going to silence you because when I have all my money, I'll have all my money, and then no one will...
Sure.
The setup should have been he's saying, I'm stealing all this money because I want to be rich. And then at the end, we find out he's not doing it to steal the money to be rich. It was all doing that to trick all the people he was working with so that he could start up this new cell that was going to be freedom fighters and killing all the terrorists. Right?
Sure. I guess so.
That would have been a turn that would have made sense. It would have been a
turn, sure. Yeah, I don't understand the motivation to kill this guy, but then to continue the work that you were doing with the guy. You know what I'm saying?
What guy? Oh.
Well, he kills the senator, who's technically his boss.
Who basically told him to go get this money so you can go kill terrorists.
Right. And then is like, you know what? It's too dangerous. Let's not do it. So then he kills that guy, but then just continues to do the job without a boss?
And
why?
Wouldn't you just say to the boss after you had the money, well, we got the money, let's keep going.
So let's keep going. You see, I'm good. I'm better than you thought. So let's keep going. I don't know. Dude, let's not overthink it. Yeah. Okay, this is Swordfish. This is just a fun popcorn movie.
Fun. None of the scenes are good, but Tony's having fun. You only like this movie because you could just look at Hugh Jackman for like an hour and a half.
He is a beautiful specimen, Dan. Don't pretend like it doesn't elevate the movie 3 points. Just automatically, him being in it.
So he shoots the guy, and then he blows up his second in command. I think in a different place he blows him up. He blows him up in a car.
Yeah, for sure.
So you also had time to find that guy, plant a bomb in his car so he blows up.
Yeah, because that's, what's that guy's name? Do you remember that guy's name?
The guy that
Joshua
kills?
From Friends, right? That's his name?
Never saw that show.
Tate Donovan. That's his name.
Oh, great.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. Anyhow, continue. Just wanted to give a shout out to my boy Tate from the OC and Friends. Love that guy.
Stan walks into Gabriel's office and is like, here's the disc. Give me my $10 million. I'm done. And then he's like, walk with me. And this is when he explains that we need this money to fight terrorists. And then he's like, okay, no thank you. And then he leaves. And then John Travolta's like, he'll be back.
I wouldn't be back. Let me tell you why. Because there are better ways to get this money without murdering folk.
Yeah.
And if you're really the good guy, you would do it a different way. But that's fine.
So he's like, he'll be back. They start their plan. They drive Hummers into the bank. They drive the bus up to outside to block the door. And then Stanley goes to the Porn King's house. Everybody dead. His daughter is gone. And then we cut to the start of the movie. We immediately after he sees them all dead. And so what we're supposed to realize is that John Travolta's character has Stanley's kid.
Apparently. It's a real quick little transition. And I was like, wait a second.
Why? Why does he have his kid?
Why is great, but also when, because the timeline of everything was very confusing there for a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
But when he tells Hugh Jackman all the stuff about the terrorist stuff, and then he's like, don't worry, he'll be back. Is he meaning because I've murdered his family and kidnapped his daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Because then why did he say who gives a shit about all the stuff you just said? Mm. Just say that part. Just be like, oh, by the way, I have your daughter and you do it or I'm going to kill her. Because all the other shit's bullshit then.
No, my bigger question is, why does he need Hugh Jackman?
Because for the keyboard slamming.
And what is the keyboard slamming that Stanley's going to have to do for John Travolta's character?
I don't know. He gets the money somehow.
Well, he's got the thing that has the money, right? But
I don't know.
But Stanley has put a thing in there to steal the money back, right?
Well, I think yes. Yeah.
How does John Travolta know that? Because that's the only reason he needs Stanley back.
Boy, I don't know, Dan. You're asking tough questions today, okay?
These are the most non-tough questions that exist on the planet. It's that this movie doesn't make any sense. He's taken out an insurance policy on something he doesn't even know is going to happen.
Yeah, because he's a smart guy. This is why he's 2 steps ahead of everybody, Dan. Okay?
He's already known that
he knows what's going on.
And why is Stanley double-crossing him? Because by double-crossing him...
I don't know that answer for sure.
It's not like Stanley's trying to steal all the money for himself, right?
No. He's just not letting you steal it. Which, here's the thing. Like, when it turns around, he's like, it was supposed to happen in 6 hours.
No, actually, I take it back. So we get back, and then he's like, Stanley has to finish the job, and he goes like this for 30 seconds, and he finishes the job. Why would he have let him leave? That's the true question.
Because he had already killed his family and had his daughter. He's like, let him go get a breather.
Why? Why would you let him leave? Isn't that the point at which you show the daughter and you say, we have your daughter? There she is right there.
Because you want it to seem like his idea.
Stanley's idea to come back?
Yep, exactly. You want them to come back on their own accord. Yep. That's it. It's a mind game. I told you I knew this movie backwards and forwards.
So Stanley finishes the job. They give him back the little girl.
Yeah.
And then the money disappears. Whoop. Because Stanley's done a tricky thing in that 30 seconds. And so then
some sort of reverse engineering
he's
thing.
Like, run, little girl. And little girl runs and escapes. And we know that we're never going to see her again in the movie.
Oh, well, you see her at the very end. You get a little snippet of their home life. It's delightful.
So he has taken the money and is making it bounce from account to account to account to account to account. Not sure how you do that. Not sure why you do that. Not sure why you would have set up a thing to do this. I don't think
it's possible because just in my bank, and I'm just, you know what? I don't have like a fancy bank. I understand that. But in my bank, it takes time for all of the money to transfer. They send it in like waves.
Oh, really?
When I put in a check that's over like $7,000 or something, they're like, well, you'll get 35 now, you'll get 25 in 4 days, and then the rest in a week or something like that. And I'm like, well, I just want it now. Why? Just like Swordfish, I want my money now.
$7,000 checks, Tony?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Dan, you should do some commercials, man. Don't come hunt me down, everybody. I don't have it anymore. I spent it. Spent it all.
Oh, for commercials.
Yeah.
That must be nice.
It's not terrible, I'll tell you that.
So to get Stanley to not make the money bounce around, he strings up Ginger, and Ginger's like, and why does he have to do it fast? Why doesn't he just put a gun to Stanley's head?
Because Ginger's choking, Dan.
Why doesn't he just
Ginger is choking.
Here, Tony, here's my question.
Okay, why don't you give me your question? Your poor attitude question.
What's going to get you to work better? Somebody holding a gun to your head?
Job.
Well, we know that. Somebody holding a gun to your head, or say J-Lay strung up there.
Well, hold on, because raise my hand. He loves her, okay?
So he does love her at this point.
He must. He has to, because he's trying to kill her instead of him. The only reason you do that is if that person cared for that person. So, hand raised.
Would you give Gabriel his money?
Yeah, I would give it to him originally. I don't give a shit. If I had skills, I would be a terrible person, because people would just be like, hey, do this. And be like, yeah, okay, cool, man. I don't care. What do I care?
Wouldn't it have been better if they bargained for the kid and had a whole real bargain session?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But instead, he forces him to do something fast for a Halle Berry character that he really doesn't care about.
He doesn't even know her very well.
Has he even?
They didn't even sleep together. And I know that sounds stupid, but usually in a movie they would have.
They didn't even make out or have a real romantic moment.
Well, they made out in the bathroom.
That wasn't making out. That was just
it was enough, Dan.
That was just like a hot kiss. It's not like... That's just
like a hot kiss. I get those 2-3 times a week. I'm fine.
It's got to lead to something, right?
Oh,
You're like,
yeah.
We had the kiss there. Then she's in there and she's like, "Don't tell him me. Don't tell him me." And
it turns out I love kissing you, Hugh Jackman, and then they finish the job, as they say.
And I mean, was she even Gabriel's girlfriend?
I have to say no. Because they didn't really show that either. Nor did they show him being jealous when he walked in and she was in lingerie and he was just hanging out. So I don't think so. Yeah. It's all very confusing.
So then he fake shoots her, and we all know he fake shoots her. And we're like, we don't care. He fake shoots her.
And this is the point where I remember that she's DEA, because he shoots her and Stanley's like, oh no. And John Travolta's like, don't worry, she was DEA. And I was like, wait, she was? And then I remembered, she is. But she's not. Boy, this is a good twist.
That's what you remember.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
they didn't mention it. They didn't mention it for 45 minutes, Dan. That's not my fault.
So now we all get on the bus, and we're going to get on the plane, and then we do the Spock. We do the Spock's conundrum. Is it more important to save one person or to save a million people?
Yeah, and it's the one person.
Then
Dan.
He talks about buying nukes for $40 million each, and then
which, by the way, still a lot of money. So he talks about it like it's not, but it's a lot of money.
So their big plan is this helicopter comes and it lowers things down and it hooks onto the thing and picks the bus up.
Yeah.
And then it takes the bus. It's going to drop the bus off on top of a tall building.
Yeah. It's a little wild of a third act here. Yeah.
And then something happens. The bus can't get enough lift, and so it runs the bus into the side of a building, and then the bus tips over, and then one person falls out and is like, ah!
Which was cool. I have to say, again, using that proximity bomb to blow up, that was pretty fun.
I thought a lot of hostages were going to fall and blow up, and I thought that was going to be kind of funny.
Yeah, but they did. Well, only one, So, Dan, let's take a timeout right here and go back to the beginning of the movie, because I feel like it's important. In that intro scene, John Travolta's like, they should have killed a hostage a minute.
Yeah.
They're not doing that.
No.
Don't you think that he should have followed through on the thing that he set up in minute 1? The only hostages that have been killed are the 2 that accidentally escaped. He didn't kill A, any hostages, and B, it's only 2 hostages. This has been like 4 hours.
You know, we watch a lot of movies where you have the bad guy, and he gets all mad and kills one of his own people to prove how crazy and bad he is. The Joker
100%.
does it. There's always like this stupid fucker that does that. If this movie, if John Travolta's character hadn't put these bomb vests with the ball bearings, which the only reason that they have that is so that you can have that opening scene, and
was cool,
and it's exciting, right?
Yeah.
Instead, we see him like go, I'm going to kill a hostage every 5 minutes, like he sets up at the beginning, and we see him walk out there,
just execute people,
But you see, you can't have that in a movie. Because it's too brutal.
But he said he's going to do it.
But you see, that is the whole problem with this movie is he says it. Lack of realism, funny. Bad acting. Yep. The problem is they make shit. He is actually telling you what this movie is.
He's letting you know what's about to happen so you're not disappointed.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, don't get too excited. This movie is from Hollywood and it sucks.
I'm going to talk about the movie this should be. And then we're going to show you Hollywood sucks. We're not even making that movie.
I figured it out. This speech is the actual writer of the movie being like, this is the movie I fucking wrote, and Hollywood watered it down and took it away from me, so you'll never see that movie, but this is what it should be. This is great. I love this.
So we love the writer of this movie.
I love the writer. Good for you, guy. I'm sorry that your dream got taken away. It's bullshit. All right.
So also when we got on the bus, just casually, Hugh Jackman's character looks back and sees a rocket launcher.
Yeah, I've got real problems with this rocket launcher throughout the rest of the movie.
So the bus finally gets to the top of the thing. There's a helicopter. Hugh Jackman's character left behind. John Travolta's character and Halle Berry get on the helicopter. It takes off. John Travolta's wait a second. Was Halle Berry on the helicopter? No, she's dead.
So she's
John
dead
Travolta,
downstairs.
Yeah, so John Travolta gets on the helicopter, and he's like leaving, and so Hugh Jackman goes and opens the rocket box, pulls out the rocket, shoots the thing, even though we know that he slipped fast and went down the stairway. We see him do that.
Yeah, you do see. Yeah. Let's just talk about the rocket. Have you ever seen a rocket launcher before, Dan? In real life?
Yeah, I mean, usually they're just like a tube that has a rocket in it.
Give me your confidence level that if I handed you a rocket launcher right now, that you could operate it and shoot down a helicopter in 30 seconds.
I'm very smart.
You are very smart. I'll give you that.
I put myself at 0%.
Okay. This guy,
those rocket launchers
for 2 seconds putting the thing in, and then he's like, "Oh no, I know exactly how to do this." Just like when he's driving the car, he's like, "I don't know how to drive. I'm driving now." It's ridiculous.
Just have him shoot it with a gun or something, but a rocket launcher, and just the absurdity that his character's going to glance backwards and see a rocket launcher, and then he's also going to have the wherewithal.
That for later.
Like,
there's a rocket launcher on the bus. I better go get it.
What does he care if John Travolta leaves?
I have no idea. He seems to care about a lot of things that I don't understand.
We live in the world, and people have problems, and my thing is, my wife, she would help people in the world. Me, I'm like,
Shannon.
I'm not going to open the door. I'm not going to help the person. It's like that poor kid got shot, and then he had to go to like 3 houses, and no one would like let him in, and he was shot. I don't know if I'd let him in. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'd call 911, but I'm not.
I get it.
I'm not. In this day and age, are you really going to render aid to someone who's going to then immediately sue you because you rendered aid improperly?
Or how do you know you're not getting fooled? Remember that home invasion movie shoot, what's that called? With oh boy, I messed it up.
I gotta tell you, Tony, if something's happening at my door, I'm not going to reference a random home invasion movie.
You're not?
No, I'm not. That is not where I learn my lessons about life. Is home invasion movies.
I gotta figure this out. There's got to be The Strangers. It's called The Strangers.
Oh yeah.
And this girl keeps coming to the door, and they open the door, and then you're dead. If you open the door, it's a trick. They're trying to kill you. So you got to be careful who you open the door for.
So he goes to all this thing, blows it up, and we all know that he's not blown up because of misdirect, because we had the Houdini speech, which tells us he's not dead.
You told us you gave us all the clues pretty much in plain sight. You gave us a fake body. You told us that you're going to misdirect us. You can't do all of those things.
And then,
I don't know.
And then he goes and he has to ID the body in the morgue, and they're all like, "Yep, that's him." And then later, John Travolta goes out to a boat and kills the terrorist. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah, well, he looks good because now he's got frosted tips too. I think I like frosted tips. I kind of wish that would come back, Dan. I had frosted tips back in the day too. Maybe that's why I'm biased.
So basically, John Travolta's character is going to wage a one man plus whoever else he has with him war on terrorism. Now wait, Halle Berry was working with him, right?
Oh, yeah, she's the one that went into the bank to get the money.
How did she get out?
Oh, everyone started chasing John Travolta, so she just got up and walked her out, right?
I don't think so. I think they'd probably deal, they're going to see her, they might be terrorists still left there. You check all those people.
Well, okay, here's, I got a different angle. The only person that knows her face, Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
So she just got up and pretended to be one of the hostages.
When the hostages all saw her, when they go like, "What's that lady getting up?"
Well, they're too scared because they're getting blown up. No, you're not buying any of this.
This is a terrible movie. You only like the movie because everyone in this movie is attractive. It was attractive. That's the only reason.
It's a beautiful cast. It is a beautiful cast. Listen, I'm not that hard to please. All right, if you give me a beautiful cast, I'll enjoy your movie for the most part. And it's not like any of them are particularly bad. The script's not good. It doesn't always look great because we're doing some crazy things in 2001, apparently. But they're doing a good job and they're good to look at. What more do you want from a movie, Dan? A story? Come on.
This movie has a story. It doesn't make any sense. It's not interesting.
Let's go. See, there you go. You got everything you need.
Swordfish. It's all a big swordfish. I feel like I've been swordfish.
I still don't hate it. I didn't hate it then. I don't hate it now. Some weirder stuff than I remember, but other than that, it's fine.
So, Tony, tell us about something you actually liked this week.
Well, as promised, Dan Goodsell, we went and saw Air, Ben Affleck's Air, in the theaters, and it is a delight. Wow. I love that movie. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. I mean, it's only April, but hands down, my favorite movie of the year. I cannot wait for it to come to Amazon Prime so I can see it again.
Wow.
Which, by the way, it will, so you don't have to go to the theaters because it's an Amazon Prime movie, and they're just doing a theater release first, and then after 45 days, coming to streaming. So just wait and watch it because it's good.
Wonderful. So I'm continuing. I'm continuing to watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I'm almost done with season 3.
Wow, you're powering right through. Good for you.
Shannon's kind of sick of it, but I continue to enjoy it.
Does she like what's the word? Binge watching?
She's okay with it.
She's okay with it. Okay.
It's just,
I just thought maybe that had something to do with it.
The show could be a little. It exists in its own universe, and so at times things can get a little, everybody's very self-possessed. It's just like me.
That sounds like real life. Got it.
But
still good. You're still enjoying it.
Tony Shalhoub is amazing. There's a guy that plays Lenny Bruce. He's beyond amazing, and Alex Borstein is amazing. There's just everybody in the cast is amazing. Yeah, it's great. I love it. The writing's wonderful. It's just, I don't know, really entertaining. It's a super entertaining thing about living a creative life and what that sort of means.
Okay.
Yeah.
Luke Kirby is the guy who plays Lenny Bruce.
And he's won an Emmy for it. This is a show that when you watch it, you're like, yes, everybody in this show deserves Emmys.
Got it. I love it.
They deserve the rewards that they are given. It's not like nobody phones it in. Everybody's working their asses off to make this a good show.
All right, I'm excited to finally get on this thing. Yeah. I'm ready.
So, Tony, you got to give us a movie. Another movie. Oh,
I'm going to give you a movie, Dan, and I am excited about it. We're going to something brand new because I love watching new movies. I've been waiting for this for a while, and it finally, it dropped a couple weeks ago, I think, but it's I got it on Fandango at home, so thank you, Fandango, for making us not go to the theaters.
I don't know what you're saying, but sure.
It's one of those, like, it's still in theaters, but you can also watch it at home for $25 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Don't worry, I bought it. You can watch it on my Vudu.
Oh, Vudu.
But this is a movie on paper should be in my opinion, a smash hit. It sounds perfect. It sounds like a great blockbuster, and I was so.
Is it Air?
Shut up, Dan. Air was great. Air is fantastic. It's a wonderful film. The character work is great. The acting is great. The story is wonderful. You're a son of a bitch.
White people, do it again.
Let me, Jesus. Let me tell you the story, and let's see if you know what movie this is. A man crash lands on a planet full of dinosaurs. You don't even know what this is.
Oh, no.
This is, of course, Adam Driver's 65. I am so excited to see this movie and see, how did this go wrong? What a treat. A man crash lands on a planet that's Earth 65 million years ago. He's got to fight dinosaurs. What could be wrong with this movie? This sounds perfect.
Didn't you see the trailer?
I saw the trailer, and it looks really bad, and I can't wait to see this
He's
movie.
sitting there watching this trailer, and you're just like, oh my God, what is happening? Why?
I'll tell you what's happening. A train wreck, and I don't know why, but we're going to see it. We're going to find out why. We're going to answer the questions. I'm very excited about this.
Wait, so you haven't watched this movie yet?
I have not watched a single frame, other than the trailer, but I'm very excited, Dan.
We love Adam Driver. It might be great.
I don't think so, but he could surprise us.
What are the reviews? The reviews beyond terrible?
It's not great. I will tell you that, and it's got, I think, 35% on the Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
So it's not, I've seen worse.
Oh yeah, a lot of worse than that.
Let me see what the audience score is, though. Let's check that out. Yeah, 35% is the critic score. 65 is the audience score. So this could be good. 65 is not a great score, but it could be good. I'll probably like it.
Yeah, but those 65 are like the 12 people that watched it.
Yeah, and I'm going to be one of them. I'll tell you that right now. Because what's Swordfish on Rotten Tomatoes? Swordfish,
I think it's okay.
59%.
Yeah.
59%. Okay, so it's a little worse.
So it's going to be,
this movie could be better.
It's going to be 6% better than Swordfish.
Hey, that's a good score.
If Adam Driver's good looking, Tony's right that he's right in there.
He's kind of he's like the guy that's like weird looking, but also it works for him. You know?
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah. You're like, yeah, you always.
And it's that voice. Oh, that voice, that deep timbre. Oh boy, it's sexy.
Men can get away with looking like an Adam Driver to,
Yeah, if they're talented, you know what I mean. If you're also talented. Bad, then no go for me.
Did we ever talk about? We watched that Noah Baumbach movie that he starred in about the toxic cloud.
I don't even know what you're saying. Is it good?
It was great, super fun.
Okay.
It was.
All right, I'll have to figure out what you're saying, and then I'll watch it.
Noah Baumbach. He's the guy that. Did you watch the second Barbie trailer?
No, I have not yet. Is it crazy?
The first trailer was the greatest trailer of the last 10 years. The second trailer's the trailer that tells you that this movie's going to be great and going to launch 1.2 billion memes. It is
Oh boy.
I've never seen a movie that you're just like, this movie is going to get memed out of because everybody's
it is made for it. Okay,
but in like a good way.
I'm excited.
Not in like memes. Oh yeah, the trailer.
Not in a Morbius kind of way.
Not in a Morbius way. Not in a sad Morbius way. Oh, poor Morbius.
Yeah, poor Morbius.
But what's his name's? What's Margot Robbie's playing Barbie, and then
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling looks totally hilarious, and Michael Cera's in there looking very funny. Yeah, I was. I'm very excited.
I think it's going to be great.
And that's done by what's her name, the woman that did Little Women, and then her husband is Noah Baumbach. They wrote it together.
Okay.
Yeah, so did you ever see Little Women? It was great. I loved it.
No, don't talk to Naomi about it because she's so mad that I haven't watched it yet with her.
It's good. I loved it.
That's what she keeps saying. I don't care.
I like the old one too, but this one's great too.
All right. Maybe I'll give it a shot.
It's been a good show. Swordfish. We'll be back next week, which is actually going to be like in 3 days for us because Tony's sick.
I was real sick. 13 pounds lighter. How do I look, by the way?
You look 13 pounds lighter.
Do I, or do I just basically look the same? There's a point where you're so fat that even if you lose weight, nobody can tell.
Well, you look the same on this thing because you're just a little person.
No, that's not it, Dan. I look the same because there's just so much underneath it. It's like, well, where did it go? Who knows? Probably lost it in my toes.
If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, maybe subscribe, and if there's something you want us to see, do. If there's a movie you want us to watch, to watch,
which is probably 65, so we're already doing it. You're welcome.
65. Ooh,
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
And we'll be back next week to talk about 65, and maybe we'll see you then.
Adam Driver. All right, goodbye, everybody.
Hey, watch him!